Have you ever caught yourself in those conversations with people where you just like, they just don't get it? Or, worst case scenario, you're having the conversation with yourself. I had somebody even say that today, like, you would figure by now I'd get it. Well, anyway, that's the conversation we're going to have here today on Self Love Monday. How you guys doing? This is Ron Simplified Myers, author, podcaster, and your uplifting life partner. Now, the language, the conversation, you guys know I always talk about that. That's the key. And the reason we're having this conversation here on Self Love Monday, when we're talking about communication, is because the first person you need to get your communication skills together with is you. As you guys know, everything I talk about is let's get you together first. Then the other stuff takes care. And the reason that I'm saying this is because I was having this conversation today, and someone was telling me that about themselves. They're like, you would figure by now I'd get it, and I don't know why I keep. Well, the reason that person keeps doing that is because you can't keep. Remember, we talk about thoughts. You have 60 to 70,000. You know, that's what it's said, that we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and somewhere about 90% of those. Now, I don't know who sat back and did all these figuring, but anyway, and they're saying about 90% of those thoughts are the same. So if you think about that, if you haven't personally made a conscious decision, remember we talk about conscious and subconscious, and everybody tries to make this mystical. It ain't. Conscious is what you're focused on. Unconscious is everything else. It's that simple. We're trying to make this mystical. It's not mystical. But you have to become conscious of the stories and of the thoughts that are going through your head at the moment. And this is where the storytelling comes in. You have to stop and say, is this particular story getting me the results that I want? And if not, then you got to get better at writing a different story. And it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily believe the story currently, but if you say it enough, because that's where beliefs come from, repetition or impact, because if it's something that hits you instantly, it can make an impact. Still, you're going to interpret it, but it still can make an instant impact, and a belief is created. So we have to recognize, are the stories helping us get where we want to go? I remember, and this does kind of go along with relationships. I was at an event, and the lady was talking about the communication skills, storytelling, kind of what I'm talking about. And she was saying that, and she was just using that as an example. She said, no, this is not going on in my own house, but this is an example. And she was saying, like, talking to a husband that's fanatical about football. And I can't get him to understand the things that I'm saying. So what I did is I wrote a story using football. You guys follow here. We're writing the story according to people's passions. And this is what you have to use on yourself. What are the things that are important to you? What's significant to you? And so the story that was written is, when I first got on the team, I was treated like a star. I was put on your shoulders. I was put in the commercials. I was pushed to the front of the line. I mean, I was treated like a star. But today, I feel like I'm on third string, sitting on the bench. At times, I don't even think you even realize I'm even on the team. So I guess bottom line, what I'm saying is, play me or trade me. Now, those of you who understand sports, or just thinking that through, that particular comment, play me or trade me, is serious. Now, if you have someone who's a football fanatic, they understand that conversation. It's like, wait, hold up, time out. What is this trade me conversation that you got going on here? See, now you got their attention. Now you can share. And most of the time, it's better to say, this is how I feel. And that's kind of what that story was about, is saying how I feel. Because you guys have to realize, and I have this conversation with myself. So again, we got to get better at not sharing things in a way that it comes across as an attack on the person that we talk to. And you really have to word it in a way that these are my feelings. Remember about a week ago, we talked about awareness, becoming aware of the things of who you really are, becoming aware of these thoughts. And that means becoming aware on, is my conversation based on, like if I said, the first thought is, I'm mad. Remember, we have to separate. It's not me that's mad. It's the emotion of mad, frustrated, sad, or depression that has crossed my path. And the reason I have to become aware of that is so that I can separate myself from the emotion. So it's the same thing when we're having the conversation. We got to separate the way we're feeling when we tell that story. Because if she all of a sudden attacked him and said, you're no good, you the way you treat me, da, 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 she has to be able to say, the way I feel, as if you don't recognize I'm on the team. That's the way I feel. It's not an attack. Now, it's still going to get their attention because of the storytelling. And that's really the idea behind this particular conversation, is we have to get better at storytelling, because people love movies. People love videos. That's why YouTube is so popular. People love that kind of stuff. But you have to make sure the story is good and it has an impact, but it's not an attack. Because if it's an attack, they'll stop watching or they'll stop listening. So make sure we separate. And that's why we're doing this on Self-Love Monday, because you have to become aware with the same conversation you're having with yourself. And is the story that you're currently telling moving you in the direction that you want to go? Or is it the same story you're continuing to tell and you're getting results that you say you don't want? And again, when you tell yourself stories, separate you. Again, this is why we're focusing on awareness, is so that we can notice that I'm not here to tell a story that attacks me. I'm going to tell a story in a way that I recognize the emotions that are crossing my path, the story that has crossed my path, separating me from that and recognizing, is that a story that's powerful? Is that a story that's moving me to get the things that I desire? And if not, you go, it's time to write a new story. Folks, this holds true with the conversation with yourself, the conversations you have with others. Get better at telling the stories. That's why I like that football analogy, because you could also use that if you're talking to a person that's a doctor. It's in the medical field. What would it be like if all of a sudden you just left a patient laying on the table and not paying them attention during surgery? You set yourself up for all kinds of lawsuits. You could be the reason, the difference between that person living and dying, because of the fact that you're not taking care of business and doing the things you're supposed to be doing. And so that's kind of how I feel. I feel like a patient in the operator, laying on the operating table, and you're out on your cell phone or you're doing other things, not even caring what happens to me as I lay on that table. You guys follow me? A doctor understands that will be negligence. That's something they would never do. But that's the way I feel. It's not you, it's the way I'm feeling. And I'm bringing this to your attention. You guys follow me? So we got to get better at telling the stories, but don't attack people in the process. Keep it as, this is the way I'm feeling. This is, I'm sad. It makes me sad, or it gets me to a point where I start to feel depressed or whatever. And so that they can recognize that you're not attacking them. I'm just telling you how these particular things are making me feel. Does that make sense? All right. So as you guys know, it ain't right. It ain't wrong. It is my opinion. Now run on over and get the my app over at Google Play. Also in the iPhone. What's the the App Store? That's what it is on the iPhone. But anyways, under Simplified You, the word simplified, the letter U, life-changing stuff that is shared over there, the programs that I got coming in, the new courses that I'm getting ready to create here. You'll be able to be notified when those things kind of happen. So anyway, as you guys know, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. Make sure you pay attention to the stories that you're writing. If they're getting you the results, keep using them. If they're not, it's time for us to get better at writing different stories so that we can write a story that impacts us and get the things that we desire. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Love you. Bye-bye.